Are you passionate about kombucha? Ever dreamed of turning that passion for healthy, delicious drinks, specifically kombucha, into a real, thriving business? Maybe you see this booming market already worth billions of dollars globally, and you're thinking, I want in. Now, why kombucha? You've seen it everywhere, right? It's a rapidly expanding market, projected to hit over $7 billion globally by 2027. That's incredible growth potential. The demand is absolutely there. But to successfully tap into this, you need more than just a great SCOBY and a killer recipe. You need the right setup, the right tools, which could range from a modest $1,000 initial investment to $10,000 or more, depending on your scale, and the right mindset from day one. So, let's talk about these machines. When I say machines for a kombucha business, especially when you're starting out, we're not always talking about giant automated factory lines that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about smart investments in core equipment, potentially starting from just a few $1,000s, that ensure quality, consistency, and the ability to scale your production efficiently, saving you valuable time in the long run. The heart of your operation, fermentation vessels. This is where your tea, sugar, and SCOBY work their magic over a typical 7 to 21-day fermentation cycle. You might start with smaller food-grade glass jars, perhaps a $50 to $100 investment for a few, or stainless steel pots. But as you aim to produce more, you'll be looking at larger stainless steel tanks. Think 50, 100, 500 liters, or even bigger, which can range from $500 for basic models to $5,000 or more for jacketed professional grade units. When sourcing these, especially if you're looking at imports from China for cost-effectiveness on larger units, potentially saving you 20 to 40% off domestic prices. Prioritize food-grade 304 or 316 stainless steel, quality welds, and features like sample ports or jacketing for temperature control. This is foundational. Next, intrinsically linked to your fermenters, is temperature control. Kombucha fermentation is very sensitive to temperature. Too cold, and your brew will be sluggish, potentially adding days or even weeks to your fermentation time, and may not develop properly. Too hot, and you risk off flavors or stressing your SCOBY in mere hours. So, your machine here could be heating wraps for small batches, costing around $20 to $50 each. Or more sophisticated glycol chillers and heaters for larger volumes, which can be an investment of $1,000 to $5,000 or more. Accurate thermostats, often just $15 to $30, are a must. Consistent temperature equals a consistent product, saving you potentially thousands of dollars in lost batches over time. Don't underestimate the importance of water. Your kombucha is predominantly water, so its quality profoundly impacts your final product and SCOBY health. A water filtration system is non-negotiable. This could range from activated carbon filters, starting around $50 to $100, to more advanced reverse osmosis systems if your source water has high mineral content, which might cost $300 to $1,000 or more. Investing in good filtration can save you countless hours of troubleshooting off flavors and prevent issues that could cost you hundreds in wasted ingredients per batch. Clean, neutral water is key, and good filtration systems are a smart import consideration. Once your brew is perfectly fermented and flavored, you need to package it. This brings us to bottling or canning equipment. When you're just starting, manual bottle fillers and cappers can get you by for as little as $100 to $300, allowing you to bottle perhaps 50 to 100 units per hour. But as you scale, you'll want to look at semi-automatic fillers, which might run $2,000 to $10,000, but can increase your output to several hundred bottles per hour, or even small-scale canning lines starting around $15,000 to $25,000. Cans are increasingly popular. Importing a compact canning seamer or a small inline filler can be a significant upgrade, saving you dozens of labor hours each week and improving your market appeal. Finally, while not machines in the traditional sense, your quality control tools are vital. I'm talking about digital pH meters, typically costing $20 to $100 to monitor acidity, and hydrometers or refractometers, around $30 to $150 to track sugar levels. These checks take just a few minutes per batch but are essential for consistency, safety, and legality, potentially saving you from thousands of dollars in fines or lost product, especially concerning alcohol content, which is a major topic we'll unpack in detail shortly. For a startup, budget is almost always a primary concern. For items like stainless steel tanks, specific bottling components, or even filtration systems, exploring direct sourcing from manufacturers in places like China can offer significant cost savings, sometimes 30 to 50% less than domestic suppliers for comparable quality. This can help your initial $5,000 to $20,000 startup capital stretch much further. However, always do thorough due diligence. Verify supplier credentials, understand shipping and import costs, which can add 10 to 20% to the item cost, and factor in lead times of 4 to 12 weeks for delivery. Don't sacrifice essential quality for a lower price. A cheap machine that causes problems and costs you hundreds in repairs or lost production time is no bargain. But let's be absolutely clear. The machines, whether they cost you $500 or $50,000, are just tools. The real secret to success in the kombucha business, or any food and beverage venture, goes much, much deeper than just the hardware. It's about perfecting your product, truly understanding your market, crafting a compelling brand story, navigating complex regulations, which can take months to understand and implement, and mastering those day-to-day operational details. It's about those nuanced insights, those little discoveries that can feel like genuine trade secrets, which can truly differentiate a struggling startup from a breakout success, potentially saving you years of trial and error and thousands of dollars in mistakes. And that's exactly what we're going to delve into for the rest of this video. We're going beyond the equipment to uncover these critical factors, the insider knowledge, and the real-world lessons that could accelerate your journey by 12 to 24 months. In fact, to give you just a little taste of what I mean by those game-changing trade secret type insights, take a look at this.
Getting my workout this week. Can I take this tea bag home?
This is kind of like a trade secret, but it makes our kombucha have a lot more flavor.
Oh no, it broke!
Look at you, flavoring your first 1,000-liter batch.
All right, you saw that trade secret hint. That's the kind of insider stuff we're digging into today. If you're serious about launching a kombucha business and actually succeeding, you cannot afford to skip around in this video. Every piece we cover is a step towards building a viable company, or a warning about a pitfall that could sink you. Let's get into what it really takes.
Fast forward to today, and sales are exploding. The U.S. market for kombucha went from $152 million in 2015 to $492 million in 2019. In fact, some experts predict the category will grow into a $4.6 billion global industry by 2024.
$492 million in just the U.S. And that was a few years back. The global market is projected to be way, way bigger now. This isn't just some fleeting health fad. It's a serious market with serious money. But a big market also means you've got competition. So, the question is, how do you stand out and grab your piece of that pie? That's what we're looking at.
Kombucha is made with a base of black, green, or oolong tea and added sugar. But this is what gives kombucha its well-earned nickname of, quote, mushroom tea. This is a SCOBY. SCOBY stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, but it's not actually a mushroom. A SCOBY is a disc of floating fungus about the size of a pancake that sits in the tea for anywhere between 7 days to nearly a month as the drink ferments. The SCOBY feeds on the sugar that was added to the tea base. As it eats the sugar, the SCOBY releases bacteria along with naturally occurring alcohol, carbon dioxide, and various types of acids. Kombucha can be sold as a non-alcoholic product as long as the resulting brew stays under the federal government's alcohol content threshold of 0.5%. Otherwise, it's subject to regulation.
The SCOBY, symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. This is the absolute heart of your operation. It's not actually a mushroom, but it's your primary worker. You need to understand how to feed it, how to care for it, and how to keep it healthy. If your SCOBY isn't happy, You don't have a product, plain and simple. This is non-negotiable knowledge for any kombucha brewer.
Kombucha's commercial origins in the US, however, can be pinpointed to California, when a 15-year-old boy began bottling homemade kombucha in his kitchen in 1995. That boy was GT Dave, and today his company, GT's Living Foods, is the #1 bottler and seller of kombucha in the US based on market share.
You know, GT Dave, what a kooky guy. But I guess, as you gotta be kooky to brew kombucha and make it your life.
I think it's awesome. He's paved the way. He was super smart to start the category that far in advance.
A 15-year-old in his kitchen. That's GT Dave, who now runs the biggest kombucha brand in the US. This is proof positive. You don't need $1 million setup to begin. Passion, a good recipe, and a compelling story can be incredibly powerful. But, and it's a big but, going from a home kitchen to a commercial scale brings a whole new set of challenges. Think regulations, consistency, and distribution. We'll touch on those.
In the initial stage of kombucha production, the factory sources high-quality tea leaves, commonly black or green tea varieties, from reputable suppliers. These tea leaves serve as the primary substrate for fermentation, imparting distinct flavors and nutrients to the final product. Utilizing stainless steel tanks or kettles, the factory brews the tea on a large scale, optimizing efficiency while maintaining strict hygiene standards. The tea leaves are added to the brewing vessels, and then it is steeped to extract its aromatic compounds and beneficial components, resulting in a flavorful infusion.
High-quality tea leaves. Sounds basic, but your choice here is huge. It directly impacts your final flavor, your cost of goods, and even your brand identity. Are you going for organic? Fair trade, sourcing unique, hard-to-find blends. These aren't afterthoughts. They're foundational decisions that will shape your business and how you market it. Don't skimp on understanding your tea.
The fermentation tanks or containers are sealed to prevent contamination and maintain optimal conditions for fermentation. These conditions typically include a controlled temperature range around 75 to 85 Fahrenheit and limited exposure to light. The kombucha ferments for a predetermined period, typically between 7 to 14 days, although this can vary depending on the desired flavor profile and production schedule.
Controlled temperature, limited light. These aren't just nice-to-haves. In commercial brewing, consistency is everything. One batch going sideways because your fermentation environment wasn't stable can cost you ingredients, time, and if it reaches a customer, your reputation. You need rock-solid processes for this.
Shannon Kamens, who discovered kombucha when she started having health issues.
About 8 years ago, I was diagnosed with celiac disease, and I really was worried about what I was putting in my gut because I was bloated all the time. So I started reading this book called The Art of Fermentation, and that's kind of where I learned that fermented foods are really great for your gut. They help you digest your food and absorb it, and so I immediately wanted to start brewing my own kombucha. I fell in love with it right away, and then I thought, I can make this and turn my passion into healing myself and then everybody else that tries it.
See that? Shannon, the founder of Booch, started because of her own health journey. That personal connection, that authentic why, that's marketing gold. People connect with real stories. What's your reason for wanting to start a kombucha business? If you can articulate that, it can become a powerful part of your brand and help you stand out.
What started off as Shannon selling at local farmers markets turned into a business that ships throughout Ontario and British Columbia.
The original flavors that I started making on my countertop are still the flavors that we produce today. So raspberry lemonade, ginger, those were my favorite flavors to make, and they've turned out to be our top sellers. And then otherwise, I'm just kind of inspired by ingredients or their health benefits or what's seasonally available. So we do a seasonal brew twice a year, and it depends what's in season. And so we'll work with local farmers that are growing those ingredients, and that kind of inspires us to introduce a new flavor.
Farmers markets to shipping across provinces. This is a classic and smart growth trajectory. Starting local lets you test your product, get direct customer feedback, build a loyal following, and iron out your processes before you try to tackle bigger distribution. Don't underestimate the power of building that initial local buzz. Now, as you're thinking about scaling up, whether it's from your kitchen to local markets or from local markets to shipping wider, one thing becomes absolutely non-negotiable: your website. Seriously, in this day and age, if you don't have a solid online presence, your chances of long-term survival are pretty much zero. It's your digital storefront, your brand ambassador, and often the first impression customers will have. And it's not just about having a website, it's about having one that works and is always available. There's nothing worse than a potential customer trying to find you online and hitting a down site. That's why I always tell people, even when you're just starting out, to look into tools that help you keep an eye on this. Something like Uptime Card, for example, is great because it's free to get started with. It'll alert you if your site goes down, which is crucial. But it also does some neat things, like giving you advice on the tech your site is using based on what works well for others. Plus, they have these uptime cards that can even help get a few extra eyes on your site. Point is, make sure your online foundation is solid and reliable from day one. It's that important.
And where there's fermentation, there's alcohol. Anywhere from 1 to 3% alcohol by volume can occur naturally in raw kombucha. That's less than a light beer.
You would be in the bathroom having a mini cleanse before you could actually end up intoxicated.
And they'd have to drink 10 bottles.
But U.S. law requires ABV never go over 0.5% for kombucha to be sold as a soft drink.
Alcohol. This is a critical point and a potential legal nightmare if you're not careful. Natural fermentation creates alcohol, no way around it. But to sell kombucha as a non-alcoholic beverage, in the US, for example, it has to stay below 0.5% ABV. If you don't manage this, you could face huge fines or even get shut down. This is something you absolutely must get right from day one.
That fancy machine costs Matt $1 million.
But now we're responsibly selling a non-alcoholic product to our consumers.
Testing is also required by law, but it's another complicated and expensive step in the process. This alcohol testing machine can cost up to $40,000. Each bottle gets a label warning of the trace amounts of alcohol. At this point, the alcohol is well under the 0.5% limit. Next, it's packed and shipped.
$1 million for one piece of equipment to deal with alcohol removal. Now, as a startup, you're probably not dropping $1 million on a machine, but the point is, compliance has real costs. This could be specialized testing equipment, specific process controls, or even needing to work with a lab. You have to factor these costs into your business plan.
We don't have any employees right now. It's just the two of us, and we don't even have childcare for our 3 small babies. We want to create something that's a little bit alternative to the norm, both in how we conduct ourselves in our business, but also the quality of the product we want to bring to the market.
One of the many reasons this local brew is in such high demand.
Just the two of them. No employees. That's Songbird Kombucha, and they're making it work. This shows you can absolutely start lean. You don't need a massive payroll or a giant facility from the get-go. Smart, controlled growth, especially when you're funding it yourself, is often the most sustainable path. Focus on quality and building your customer base first.